right, everybody, we back with another episode of the Wealth of the Culture podcast. It's your host, Ali Brady. I got a guest. He goes by Bitcoin Vegan. His name is Justin Rhedrick. Crazy thing is, though, everybody been waiting on this episode for real because y'all been blowing me up since the Bitcoin spike. So it's gonna be interesting. To get this conversation started, get a couple of y'all questions answered, and just talk to Justin about his journey in this cryptocurrency space. So you can do me a favor though, Justin. Just give everybody a little breakdown, your background, your history, how you even got, where you came from, and what happened, and how you got started into this whole crypto space.
All right. So real quick for everybody that's listening, I want y'all to send me a message saying "Wealth for Bitcoin." Wealth for Bitcoin to my DMs on Bitcoin Vegan on Instagram or Bitcoin_Vegan on Twitter. I'm gonna send you an invite to a Q&A I'm having on Monday for my course, and also throw in there a free chapter to a book that I'm writing. It's gonna be the Bitcoin chapter. So all you need to do is say "Wealth for Bitcoin," and I'll make sure I get that to you once I get you your email. But for me, man, it was real. My journey into Bitcoin was I can't even say it was different now that I'm on Clubhouse hearing everybody else talk, but mine's, I don't necessarily come from that quote unquote financial background. My thing about Bitcoin, what made it so important to me was the time I found it. My homeboy Bitcoin Zay, who was just on CNBC, he got a book called Bitcoin in Black America. He introduced me to Bitcoin around 2016. And at that time, I was home from prison for about 2 years. And so I was just looking for something that was going to be life-changing. And I had a lot of friends that was in, stocks, real estate, all this other type of stuff where they got their businesses, off the ground. And for me personally, I was like I said, I was looking for something. And so when I learned about Bitcoin and learned about, just how powerful it was, what stood out to me was the decentralization. The fact that you were, 100% in control of your Bitcoin. And I compared it to how we use stamps in prison. If you don't have no money on your card that people send you, you got to use stamps on the yard. And the price fluctuates depending upon the price of stamps in the real world. So what really got my eyes going towards Bitcoin, I used to reach out to some people that I knew that were real successful in their business. Like some people were financial advisors. Some people were, like I said, real estate people or just heads of businesses. And I asked them, like, how y'all feel about Bitcoin, man? Blah, blah, this. They was like, oh, man, it's nothing to really pay attention to. It's not that important. I heard it could be good, but they got a lot to work on. So I heard what they said. Then I'm looking on YouTube. We got certified billionaires backing this thing. The Winklevoss twins, Mark Cuban, Richard Branson. You got folks all over the world who's bragging about the power of Bitcoin. So it was in that moment that I realized, like, yo, y'all not really like that like you think you are. You know what I mean? Like, y'all not really like that like you think you are. So you were stuck where the world is, and I noticed where the world was headed. And I ain't gonna never forget one time I was walking with my daughter. I said, I know there's something dope going on in the world right now that if you just there early, you could prosper. Because I was just reading up a lot of things, and I noticed how people who were just in the right space at the right time, they ain't really had to do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, they just had that front early adopter knowledge. And so they could just spread it. And so that was in 2016, man. And by then, like I said, Bitcoin was at $626. And I was buying it. I was buying it up. I was working crazy jobs, like $12 an hour jobs, $12 an hour, 12 hours a day, manual labor with no insurance. Being the fact that I was home from prison, I was just like, y'all just gonna take advantage of an able body. And it was cool because I said, all right, I'm just gonna buy Bitcoin with this money. So the first time it ran up to $19,000 in 2017, that was like a 20x, within 15 months. And I'm like, damn. So I really started noticing what the power of Bitcoin was and just how this was a real wealth creator. So I started doing small consultations to people. It was at a point in time I sold Bitcoin, like hand to hand. Like if somebody wanted to buy Bitcoin, I charged them a premium, went to the Bitcoin ATM, bought it and sent it to them. That was before it was deemed illegal by the federal government. But during those times, man, it was just like really with me, I really wanted to learn how to build a business. And then also I wanted to, spread the knowledge of Bitcoin, but then go deeper. So Bitcoin at that time was like a real lifesaver to me. And ever since then, bro, I've been rocking with it. And, now I developed courses on it, got a little intro guide, and even writing a book that has a chapter on it or 2 or 3. But now it's just really, focusing on the power of Bitcoin, and not just as a money, but as a vehicle to freedom.
Okay, that's what's up. And I think it's good because I know primarily you deal with a lot of beginners, and a lot of people that listen in, or they hit me up, especially
Yeah.
because I remember back in 20, like I'll tell you, I got into this whole space back in 2016, like late 2016. And that
Mm-hmm.
was before Bitcoin, like people really even knew what it was. Like you heard rumblings here and there and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
for anybody out there, because a lot of people, they don't even, can you just explain what is Bitcoin? Because a lot of people, they still have a confusion about what it actually is.
Right. So look, here goes the thing, right? Like, so that's even the name of my course. What is Bitcoin? But here's the funny thing, because a lot of people in the world are beginners. You feel me? Like, you gotta look at it like this: if there's 8 billion people in the world, if only 100 million people even have an idea what Bitcoin is, 99% of the world are beginners. You know what I mean? Like, they're beginners. So it's like that. It's the biggest market ever right about now. Because we in the first 1.5% of people in Bitcoin. So that means that 99% of the world don't know, and you the new 1%. So now everybody just has to learn, accordingly. But when we talk about what is Bitcoin, it's several things. It's like it's like all the good parts about the finance system and all the bad parts are gone. So meaning, you have some people who say, man, so this is a stock. I said it works. The concept is like that, but it's not just a stock. It doesn't, just do stocks. Like Tesla is dope, but you can't really, there's only one thing you can do with Tesla, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like gold, but it's gold 2.0. Why would it be gold 2.0? Because you can't send gold all over the world like you can Bitcoin. And it's scarce like real estate. So a lot of people want to say that real estate or that land is important because of location. However, the reason that land appreciates over time and it is so valuable because only 27% of the world is made up of land. So that means that there will not be more land created, the same as for Bitcoin. So you have a scarcity product, you have also appreciation that goes out of this world, and you also have something that can be broken down into bits and pieces. So all in all, what you have is a system that has a currency it does fluctuate over time, but most of the people who've been in Bitcoin are already in profit. Even unless you bought the 45,000 high, you still about to be in profit. So Bitcoin is a situation where it can be used as a money for goods and services. It can be used as a storage of value, and it's also could be used as a unit of account or as a bearer instrument. So it's all of those things wrapped into one that happens to be a technology that has its own computer system.
Okay. And I think it's good that you mentioned, the multiple use, because a lot of people they hear about Bitcoin, they may even hear about the blockchain technology. And real quick, like I'll just break that down. Like the blockchain technology is basically just like a digital ledger that tracks every transaction. Mm-hmm. But the thing that caught my eye with Bitcoin is that it's decentralized. That basically means that the government can't they can't get their hands in this. And so while a lot of people, especially in the US, they don't see the value in that, they don't think about, like you mentioned, this is not just a US thing. This is global. And you can, it's different. I refer to it, I'm glad you said gold Twitter, because I just refer to people as digital gold. That's what I tell people. That's the best way to look at it, digital gold. So just, if you don't want to take our word for it, you got, like he mentioned, plenty billionaires that's got this on their radar. And I mean, I remember, true story, I remember back in it was right after Bitcoin did that first fight, like 19,000. Everybody was talking about the CEO from Chase was talking down on Bitcoin and this and that. And I remember I started doing research on this. And that's when I found out that while he was out there doing that, Chase was behind the scenes. Chase was behind the scenes buying up Bitcoin. While they out here, like, you got to believe half of what you hear and believe what you see, because where that money is going is what really matters. And I remember also Bank of America started doing patents on crypto, and you just start seeing all the institutional money start taking that route towards crypto. So I'm glad you mentioned, because a lot of people hear like, oh, they don't know me and you for nothing, so they might hear like, oh, okay, it's cool, but when you start hearing about billionaires that was on it years ago, that's when it clicked for people. And just you can kind of break down like why should everybody invest in Bitcoin? Because some people, they still might not be, we broke down what it is, but I think you should just kind of break it down like why should you invest in Bitcoin? Because some people they hesitant, they scared. Everybody, and especially this podcast, we primarily target the Black community, so I know we're afraid of what we don't understand. I get it.
And we don't understand a lot. Shit, we just gonna keep it a buck.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So here we go. So check this out. All right, so we in the middle of the pandemic. So we in the middle of the pandemic, and like here's one thing, since we do have a Black podcast. There are reports saying by 2040, 2053 that there will be no Black wealth. So these are all the people included who are into options, you into stocks, you into everything you've already been doing. All right. They're already predicting you still ain't gonna have no wealth. So when you start looking at this, like we're playing the game that's already been won by people who already have a 400 to 500 year head start financially on us. All right. We came to this land, we built up the country, we had nothing given in return. They're still not gonna give it to you. So when you start putting all this into context, plus you got inflation eating your dollar, you had more money pumped into the system than ever before. Wall Street Journal, I read an article about them. They said, I think sometime this year, between now and 2025, we're going to experience a cash crisis similar or the same to the Great Depression. So the reason I can piece these things together, because I've been in Bitcoin so long that when I first got in here, I started looking at the top down to see. I tried to find holes in Bitcoin myself, but what I ended up doing was finding holes in every other financial system. So when the pandemic started, they gave out stimulus checks. The first thing I started seeing was signs that said, please bring exact change because we have a coin shortage, right? Now, you said something real dope a few minutes ago, follow the money. Everybody swear they knows finances, but they don't really follow or study the money. They don't study the dollar, but they study finances. What does that mean? You study the real estate, you study the stocks, the bonds, the mutual bonds, all this other stuff. You study that, that's finance, but the actual dollar, folks don't understand for real. So what gives this dollar value? Because there really is none. People believe value to be, well, I can spend it anywhere I want, so that makes it valuable. No, it doesn't. All right, so you had a coin. They're talking about a coin shortage going on. In my mind, I'm already thinking like, why the hell are y'all having a coin shortage? The coins are not made out of silver or gold or any precious metal. So why is there a coin shortage? You should just be able to print it. Because if it was made out of anything else other than just plated nickel, it can appreciate over time. That 1 quarter will not continuously be a quarter. So I started looking at these things, man, and add on top of that what they predict about Black wealth. The reason why it's most important to buy Bitcoin now, during the pandemic, like we talked about earlier, Bitcoin started out at like $3,600 in March. Right about now, it might be $37,000. That's a 10x. All right, that's a 10x. I got a coach of mine, a money coach. Her name is Sabrina Abraham. She tells me the number one rule to money is to stay ahead of inflation. And how far ahead of inflation do you want to be? So we have not felt the true, and I've done some reading, like I said, Wall Street Journals, all the other, insider places. We have not felt the strains of coronavirus economically. There's already predicted to be no Black wealth. Bitcoin is a low barrier entry. Anybody can buy it. Hell, I bought it 2 years being home from prison. And yeah, people talk about volatility, but they don't really study the dollar itself. The steady decline it's been since 1913. If a cheeseburger costs 61, if this cheeseburger costs 19 cents, it's 1961, and now it's $1.50 some cent, and it's the same burger, the same ingredients, the same materials, the same everything. How does it appreciate in value? There is no value there. So the importance of having Bitcoin is the fact of, like you mentioned, that freedom. A lot of people have not experienced financial freedom. And I don't care if you are $0 in debt. You have not experienced financial freedom if you have not been in Bitcoin. Meaning, Have you ever tried to make a transaction outside your normal spending limit and the bank said, hold on, what are you doing? Or have you ever tried to deposit? You can't even withdraw certain types of money. You cannot transfer certain amounts of money on your own, money that you worked hard for. So, the reasons for Bitcoin, number one is this decentralization, like you mentioned. When you are decentralized and you are free outside of an economic system, you think differently, you act differently. All right. Think about all the people who watched their money 10x during the pandemic, and other people watched their 401k crumble. All right, that's that. Number two, it helps kind of close this wealth gap a bit quicker, and it also gives you your own type of wealth. So it's all under your control. Number one. Number two, it's a money that works, and that might be the hardest thing for people to understand is that Bitcoin works. Why does it appreciate? Because it works. Why does money fail? Because it doesn't. Does that help answer a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I want to hit because you mentioned that because a lot of people they don't understand that you can use Bitcoin for transactions, and I mean a lot of people they like to play it and call it a stock. That's what a lot of people. I'm just saying like a lot of people I thought they try to refer to like I'm gonna get shares of Bitcoin. I mean no, it's a actual currency. It's just a digital currency. It's just like that dollar, and I'm glad you mentioned the dollar because I know I think I read somewhere. Might have been a few weeks ago. They were saying that like $100 back in like 1930, I think, or something like that. Today that $100 is worth like $3.50 or something like that. So you can get. That's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, we ain't gonna go too deep into this, but money is just paper. It don't have no backing anymore. Like that gold standard went out the window way back. If you really want to go do your research on that. Meanwhile, you have Bitcoin. While people love to say it don't have no backing, I mean who gives anything back? And it's the people. I mean, at the end of the day, that's who gives anything value. And you have to realize, like, you don't have to have. I know a lot of people had this misconception that, oh, I don't like Bitcoin right now. I think, it's like at 37, 38,000, somewhere in there right now. And everybody loves saying, because I was like this, I get it. They was like, oh, I can't afford a Bitcoin. I can't afford. That's too expensive. I was like that back in 2016 when it was like $1,000 something like that. It was like I can't buy no Bitcoin. This what the hell? Like I ain't got this kind of money to sit around. No, and you don't even have to get a whole Bitcoin. You can get fractions of Bitcoin. Just like like they do with stocks now. You can do fractional shares for stocks. You can get a fraction of Bitcoin. It's just like if I say, you got $1, but 4 quarters can make that dollar. So you can still have a quarter. So
I like that.
Like that's what like it's just pieces of it. So it equates to a certain dollar amount. If you want to look at it that way, so you can understand the comparison. And I'm glad you mentioned that about withdrawing money because that's what people don't realize. Like you really can't go to the bank and just be like, oh, like if you're a millionaire, you choose to have $1 million just straight in one account, don't want to do the 250 like everybody else do, $250, whatever. You want to go to the bank and say, I need to get all this out cash. They're gonna look at you like you crazy for one. Two, they're gonna question you and it's your money. Then they're gonna take you through this whole long drawn out process. And it's probably gonna take a few days to get you that money, if not weeks.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's a process that just speaks like it speaks to saying that hey, we control you. You know what I mean? Like even if you have money if you have a 401k, look what happens. You worked 15 out of 30 years, right? You ready to pull something out? Hey, you gonna go through all these taxes. You're gonna go through all these fees and fines for hours you put in for your own 401k. What does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also, the whole thought of like the whole thought of people own the whole Bitcoin. So nowadays the craze is talking about like these things called Satoshis, the smallest bits that you can get of Bitcoin. And they're like, and everybody thinks that, well, there's not enough Bitcoin to go around. There will always be enough Bitcoin to go around. All right. Not saying the whole Bitcoin, but there will be some Bitcoin to go around.
Yep.
So as you spoke, as you spoke, people think they need a whole one. Now, in one of my advanced courses, the main thing we talk about is, invoices in Bitcoin. If you look on my website right now, I accept Bitcoin as payment for anything I do because I had this thought. It was in the beginning of the year that Bitcoin continuously rise. It's right now, it's at some people's yearly salary. All right. So if you have a business, a side business, a hustle, whatever, you need to start accepting Bitcoin, especially if your business can do numbers like that, 5 to 6 figures, whatever, 7 figures, whatever. You need to start accepting payments in Bitcoin. All right. Because what will then happen is you will be able to, number one, become a global business. People can do business with you wherever. Like I have friends, I have people who want to hit me up like, hey man, I live in Ireland, how can we work? You already know what you gotta do. You gotta send to me in Bitcoin. There's no other way else it's gonna happen. I'm not trying to go, and then international business alone online is horrible. It's hard. Like I had a woman in the Cayman Islands. She couldn't use her traditional bank account. You feel me? Like Bitcoin opens up to global transactions. So what I'm saying here, like, yeah, buying Bitcoin is cool. It's still at a reasonable price. Like I know we both know people who randomly got 4K ready for 10% of a Bitcoin or whatever. But essentially here, like there's a different game to play, and it is a sense of urgency, because right about now you have people who have whole Bitcoins. You could do like the 0.1 to 0.9, but eventually those numbers, those types of units of Bitcoin, just going to continuously get harder to get. So, which is why I look in my advanced course that's dropping in a few weeks. We want to get people to learn how to accept Bitcoin for payments. And then you can start seeing just how different Bitcoin can go for you. But, people don't even know what that is. A lot of people don't even know you can accept Bitcoin as payment because they still think of it as a stock. So there's a lot of limited mindsets on Bitcoin that just have to be really erased then for it to be embraced fully.
So now that we don't mention, the advantages of buying Bitcoin. And I know this question is probably that's just the main question I get. Where do you buy Bitcoin at? Now, for me, I use Coinbase or really Coinbase Pro. I'm old school. Like I used to, like I said, I used to trade. I used to do trading with crypto. So for one, let me hit on this real quick because this Bitcoin, the Bitcoin, like if you ask me about any crypto, I don't know about Justin, but I'm gonna tell you this. I only talk about two now. There's only two cryptos I'm gonna talk about. And that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Ethereum basically is just a platform that a lot of cryptocurrencies they build on top of. So it's pretty much like a foundation for everything. I kind of refer to it as Bitcoin is the gold, and I say Ethereum is pretty much silver. That's my breakdown, the easiest way to get people to understand. Altcoins, that's a whole different beast. For one, I'll just run through this real quick for my case. I'd have been got in the crypto game quite a bit. I mean, this. Hey, you learn. Sometimes you gotta learn stuff the hard way.
That's the tuition, bro. That's tuition.
And it took me a few times to learn the hard way. I'd have been in, I did the Big Connect scam back in there that a lot of people probably heard about. I was in that. I got. I was in the. I tried trading, and what you got to watch out when you trade is all the hype that go into these pump and dumps, which they still do that now to this day. They do this in anything, stocks, whatever, where they'll hype up something that ain't worth nothing. It literally has no value. They get mainly they already had a bag ready. They hype it up for you to come in and think that you about to go run it up, so you start buying it. Then they dump all that, and you looking like, what the hell just happened? And I got with that too. So for one, everybody, y'all might want to just leave that alone and keep it simple. I mean, you ain't gotta put no real thought into this. Just keep it simple and go with Bitcoin. I mean, if you want to branch out and get crazy, go get some Ethereum. I don't really talk about nothing else as far as crypto go because I don't mess with it no more. I'll let Justin hit on Ripple later on. That I got my own opinions on it. I don't know his. I mean, I'm interested to hear him. But let's just talk about the platforms. Like, what platforms do you necessarily use to get
So here's my thing, brother. I honestly, like you said, in my heart of hearts, I hate Coinbase. Number one, for how they treat their staff, their black employees. Then they've taken accounts offline with people who had Bitcoin. They work hand in hand with the government. Matter of fact, I was just reading a book called you can't even see How Money Got Free, and he was talking about just the owner in there, how bros just he was just wild. So I don't necessarily fool with Coinbase. Number one, because I'm a big guy on decentralization and having your keys, and they don't offer you that. But I will tell people, like, if you buy on Coinbase, immediately send it to another wallet. But I mean, for what I tell folks, really, bro, the easiest way What I mean by easy is the onboarding process is easy. You ain't gotta wait long periods of time. Cash App, um, Cash App, you can buy it. I will say this: if you bought your Bitcoin off of Robinhood or Weeble, no, because you can't send it. If I can't send the Bitcoin from your platform to my wallet, I don't want it. So those if you got it on there or those types of places, you need to get it off. If you don't know how to get it off, that link in the bio or those DMs work very well at Bitcoin Vegan at Instagram and on Twitter. But you want to have your in my eyes, the most important thing to do is have that decentralization, that power in place, because there's been plenty of times where you've been in the space a while, so you've seen Coinbase or you see Bitcoin run up the numbers, and you get this big message saying, "Hey, you can't access your Bitcoin right now."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I got $100,000, if I got $1 million on there, if I can't get to it, I don't give a damn if it's 30 minutes. It's gonna be a long time. You feel me? Like that's a long time. So that's why I just in my most honest, humblest opinion, I try to give people as much control over their money as possible. Because in this space, a lot of times, even with my course, people be thinking like, yo, so am I gonna have access to my money? I'm like, yo, this is your money. You know what I'm saying? You just paying me for direct, straight education. You ain't gotta do all that crazy research that folks still be doing research on that gets them nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Only way I'll accept your Bitcoin if I'm asking for it as the price of payment. As far as me trying to make it up, run it up for you, I ain't doing none of that. So those are my my suggestions as far as places to purchase Bitcoin.
Yeah, I know you did mention the wallets. Like they do have the cold wallets. That's basically taking it offline. I will say be careful because I do know some people that got jacked for their wallets.
What you mean, like somebody took them?
Yeah, I know a few people because they used to keep it on them like on a little chain and stuff, and they done got jacked for them. But that was way back. That was way back in the day, like on my little online crypto community. I know some people that got. So I mean, it's just like anything else. You're gonna keep it safe and keep it safe. Keep it in like a safe at your house or however you want to store it, wherever you want to put it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, don't lose track of it because that's it. And I know because I say this because like Bitcoin is finite in the sense of it's only I think 21 million that you can that's gonna be able to be mined. So and when I say mine, that's just kind of the process of as you do transactions through the Bitcoin and the blockchain, as you mine it, I believe they correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it just when they mine it, it ends up creating more Bitcoin into circulation, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you good, yes, it's good, yeah. Because I mean once you had a Bitcoin, once it's mined, after that, then it just goes out there. But like you were said, it's only 21 million to ever be created, and like 18 million has already been made. So people hear this and they think, oh man, like it's gonna run out. But what's so dope about it is like the technology has been set up for the last Bitcoin to be mined in 2,140. So you don't really have to worry about seeing the last Bitcoin ever mined. I don't think nobody alive will for right now. Well,
I mean, even you want to get scared about like that. Just look at money. I mean, that's finite until they start running off like right now. Start printing out some more. So I mean, everything has an end. This is I like Bitcoin because it's decentralized. That was the big reason like why I really like fell on the wave of everything going on with Bitcoin, and that's what brought me to it. It's kind of like don't nobody have no power over this, and I mean it get a negative connotation I think because of where it got it started, and everybody loves saying, oh, but the cartels and all the people on the dark web using. I'm like, who cares? Like they gonna do the same thing with money laundering. It's all the same. Like it's just how you want to look at it.
It's been the same. It's just a vehicle, man. Like I remember I was at this conference in DC, the Black Blockchain Summit, the very first one at Howard University, and I was on the panel, and it was this politician saying, and I was like, man, listen, man, criminals breathe air, and y'all have not stopped that. So what are we getting at? You know what I mean? Like there is no. The thought was trying to be put out there is the fact that hey, it's bad, you don't need it, let us take care of it. When in actuality, we're gonna take all of it, and by the time you get to be able to use it, you won't be able to get a Bitcoin with it. You know what I mean? So the messages that are played out, and that's another thing. Like me being in Bitcoin so long, man, I don't even care about what the news says. Like it's literally meant nothing. the past 5 years I've been here. Like it's just a headline, and here comes another. Like it means nothing at all.
And most time when they putting out them headlines, all they trying to do is just make you not want it or sell what you got so they can go scoop it up for nothing. Like pennies on the dollar, man. I mean, and if you're scared about the whole like being able to have your money and get it, have access to it, I mean, the transactions and stuff, I want to say on the blockchain, it's only for Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin might be a little bit longer because, I mean, so many people use it, which that also annoys me about people talk about the speed of the transaction. I'm kind of like, well, if you don't need to go get some cash from the bank and they told you it's going to take a few days to get, a hell of a lot of money, but you got to wait, maybe 10 minutes max. That's probably the longest I've had to wait on a Bitcoin transaction. I'm just like, well, what are we really getting at? And I hate when people tell me, let's talk about Ripple. Let's talk about XRP, because I hate when people start talking about how. What's your thoughts on it? Because I hate when people tell me about, for one, I don't care how cheap something is. That don't equate to anything. You have to look at how many coins are in circulation. For one, you could do all this. You could go. I use back in the day when I was real heavy, and I use CoinMarketCap. You could do real quick, basic research. If you want to go super detailed, you can go read the white papers. I'd have been through too many of those.
They don't really be nothing but PDFs.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing but PDFs.
Yeah, it'd be real quick. If you really just care to go do that type of digging like I used to do back in the day, that's fine. You can do that too. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna say this constantly. Bitcoin, Ethereum is all I'm a really push. That's all I care about. XRP. Go ahead and tell me your opinion on, because everybody talk about how fast it is, and I get banks use it, but
here's the funny part, right? So back in like 2017, there's a YouTube channel called The Gentleman of Crypto. So I used to, and my homeboy Isaiah, he was just like, bruh, I'll pay you in Bitcoin if you could just research all these altcoins for me and, send them to us and let me know what's up. I'm like, bro, I got you. You know what I mean? And I really started realizing, like, bro, there is nothing here on most of these coins out there. You know what I'm saying? So when we start talking about XRP, like, so here's what they claim. They claim to, and this is why I say, it is a security, because it was never meant to be traded. Like their coin or their token or whatever the hell it was supposed to be was only supposed to be meant to make bank transactions faster, and so it can compete with the SWIFT banking system that transfers money. Now, here's the funny part. People complain about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, possibly an hour for a Bitcoin transaction to go through, but that's a finalized transaction, all right? How many times have you gone out here, you might spend some money on the weekend with your debit card, ran up some money, and like your bank statement is looking crazy until Monday because that payment has not hit the bank. It has not been finalized. It was just accepted for that transaction. So there's a difference when we start talking about like finalization and being able to leave out the store with it. All right. And that's something, again, it's a different type of session. But when we start talking about Ripple, man, first of all, out the gate, this is when I talk about scams. Like, there are high level scams here. Reason why most people call Ripple a scam, because it was not doing nothing. It was not supposed to be traded amongst people. It was not bringing no real change to the real world. All right. So number one, XRP isn't even owned by Ripple. That in itself is a red flag. It's not even the same thing. Like how
I also happy because people don't get this. They be trying to tell me, right? And I got in an argument with somebody. And I don't usually like argue about something because I'm like, hey, if you like it, that's cool. But I mean, I'm just putting it out there because I was the same way back in the day. Like you couldn't have told me nothing. Like XRP might have been my favorite thing. XRP and Tron might have been the ones I was on the heaviest. And I did Stellar Lumens and Cardano. And I mean, that's fine. That's what y'all want to do. Y'all want to trade? That's cool. I just tell y'all, like, most of these coins don't have a use case. And if they do have what they claim to be a use case, it ain't coming for years. But especially the one that, I hate that everybody talk about is XRP to me. And they only mention this one in Dogecoin because of their price.
Let me go in then, bro. Let me go in real quick, bro. So being in Clubhouse for the past beginning of the year, I have noticed this. These people who talk about XRP do not care about the use case portion. They don't care about what it ethically is. They believe it's going to make money. All right. So most people who are They call themselves investors. I'm a trader. I'm a stockbroker, crypto investor. All these people who are, to me, they just look like titles on goddamn on Clubhouse. I don't believe y'all really understand what you're talking about. No way. All right, because we ain't been here long enough. So they look at it as this. Okay, it's going through some trouble right now. Kind of like how Bitcoin was in 2017. I'm going to get it cheaper, and when it blows up, I'm going to change my life. That's the thought process. All right.
Yep.
They don't care if they don't even care that the SEC has slapped the hell out of this thing. All right, slapped it so much that it's off exchanges. People will then sit here and say this. Oh well, it doesn't really matter what the SEC says. It cares. The only thing that matters is what the market says. If it's not on an exchange, it's not on the damn market. It is that simple, right? It's supposed to be. But when people, you got to understand, you don't know how much money people have put in XRP. People might have put their life savings and they're really talking out of hope. Like they're hoping, but all the facts are around them. So again, XRP was one of the biggest scams I've ever seen in my life. And what turned me off on XRP in 2016 on Poloniex was when I couldn't have my own wallet. I can't have my own XRP wallet. I don't like it. Like, I don't like it because I try. I ain't gonna lie. I put like $1 down to see what's up. But then it was like, bro, I can't have it on the wallet. And my biggest thing back then was what? Don't have it on exchange. Mt. Gox was still, folks were still hot in the streets about Mt. Gox. And for y'all who don't know anything about Mt. Gox, it was one of the first hacks of an exchange ever that drove the price of Bitcoin down from like, was it 1,000 to 100 or 100 to $1? Anyway, look at it, destroyed the price for a minute. And people had a bad taste in their mouth. So, like, when folks start talking about XRP, like, they don't really want to look at the real facts. Number one, it's not cryptocurrency. It's really an arcade token. It's inside. It's an eternal currency for this. It was not meant to be traded. Here comes the SEC showing you all this. Now, here we're going to talk about the bag holder or, pump and dump. The owners or the creators or whoever the hell they are of XRP held like 70 to 80% of the coin. It's not like how Satoshi only has $1 million he has 1 million Bitcoins out of 21 million or 20 million. These folks have 80% of the Ripple. So every time the price goes up, they dump it on you. They're all in control of it. Again, scam. All right. It does not provide any real use case to the real world. That means people don't need to be buying it. Scam. You guys are using this as a fundraiser for your company. Yep. But it's a scam. Like, it does not work standing alone by itself. All right. And that's something that's, even after we just go through this, bro, I already know people are going to be like, man, I don't care, man. It's going to go to $5 anyway. He's just crying. So this lawsuit will last a while. Of course, Ripple is going to put out reports saying, oh, we think we're going to get this over with. We feel confident. Who don't lie in the face of adversity? What business don't? When have you ever seen that in real life? Oh, yeah, they're not going to go online and say, hey, man, listen, it's over for us. But the writing is on the wall. And then people want to say, well, international markets will mess with it. This is for banks, all right? Most banks internationally are tied to U.S. banks. If U.S. said we're not dealing with it, what do you think everybody else is going to do? They're going to follow suit because in their minds, who has the powerful dollar right now? The U.S. So, to be all the way honest, like they said, Bitcoin Trade said about Bitcoin that you technically you didn't lose, you lost your money. And it's hard to sit with, but I understand that. But hey, truth of the matter is, Ripple, XRP, whatever it is, was never supposed to be meant for public use. And now you're seeing that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of people don't realize Ripple is different than XRP. And that's once I learned that, like, Ripple is what helps the banks do these super fast transactions and stuff. It ain't got nothing to do with the coin. So like I say,
here's one more thing, brother. One more thing. So, in my advanced course, we talk about the Lightning Network, right? There's a wallet out there right now. You can buy Bitcoin called Strike. Crazy thing about Strike, I can buy Bitcoin. I can buy from my bank with no fees, send it with Lightning Network to my Lightning wallet instantly. Why do we need Ripple? Tell me, what's the use case for Ripple? Every altcoin out there, once Bitcoin updates the protocol, it's over. Like, your coin will be done. And Ripple is one of them. I mean, every other coin to fall will probably fall to the same thing, man.
And I'm going to put this in perspective because a lot of people don't realize this either. When you start looking at Bitcoin, you start looking at all these other altcoins, if you got a fear about getting the Bitcoin and just holding it, I'm going to say that 90% of the altcoins move in tandem with Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin rises, that's usually how these altcoins rise. So, I mean, yeah, I get, I might be able to make a little bit more money, if I got the altcoins because they're cheaper or whatever. But I just say be careful because I'm telling you, you get caught in these pump and dumps.
I'm going to tell you this, too.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? And this is what messes a lot of people up. They're saying they're making money, which is they're making USD. But in actuality, when that like XRP to BTC pair, XRP has not seen their all-time high in Bitcoin in a long time. Because Bitcoin takes off with the money. These things are measured in Bitcoin. They might go up in US dollar value, but in dollar Bitcoin, they're really falling down. So what you buy, and back then you could only really get these other coins with Bitcoin. So you might be you might be using Bitcoin to get these other coins, but in actuality, Bitcoin is the king of all cryptocurrencies. So y'all are paired with me. And even if you use USD, yeah, you might be winning some money, but you're not gaining more BTC. Most of these folks are losing. They don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand, you don't want nobody to know, like, trading is hard, this, that, and the third. But I know from experience, I know a lot of people who said it ain't the easiest thing to sit here and just make money your first few years of trading. So you thinking like, well, yeah, I made a few dollars, but if you didn't make more Bitcoin, you're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, but that was the key because I remember that's really why I got started, and I lost myself in that and got caught because I literally got in. I was like, I'm gonna run these altcoins up. I'm gonna get the Bitcoin off these altcoins, and I'll be good. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I ran up some money, and I mean, back then, I mean, it was almost like the stock market is now, where you almost could throw a dart at a board or whatever you pick, it was gonna run because everything was going crazy. So I mean, and I keep it a buck. I'm not gonna sit here and lie out like I'm the guru or the expert or whatever. I hate those terms, anyways. Everybody want to be a guru now, especially with the whole thing with Clubhouse. I don't even be started on that. I just
they be a guru in 1 year. They be experts in less than a year. Yeah. I feel like, it took me 4 years to put a course together overnight in Bitcoin. Now y'all are experts in 1 year.
Yeah, that's my thing though. Like, and I'm just like, I put it a lot. Like, that's really what pissed me off. Like, I be getting mad because I be sitting listening in a lot of, especially like on Clubhouse. Y'all know what Clubhouse is? It's just a audio platform. Be mindful when you go in there. That's all I'm gonna say because a lot of people you start learning, they just be in the line trying to get some follows, like it matter, and they ain't really out here for your best interest. But all that aside, you just sit and listen in to people, and it's just like, I know people that's been doing, whether you want to talk about stocks, forex, whatever. I know people have been doing stuff like this 10 plus years, man. They don't refer to themselves as no expert. And you got people coming on and they want to get an attitude with people when they try to challenge them on what they know. But I'm like, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to test your knowledge. Like, people come to me, if you want to come to me about stocks, I'll tell you right now, I'm no expert. I help whoever I can get started for free. And that's fine. Same with crypto. Like, I feel like I'm way better in the crypto space because I've been in that the longest, and that's how I got started. So, when you start putting money into something, you start doing a little more research and you care a little bit more. You got skin in the game. But I just say be mindful though. Listening to everybody, do your research, challenge those people. Like, I don't like, even with this platform, I gotta go do my like my guests may not know this. I go research every guest I bring on before I'm not bringing on somebody that I haven't at least, I don't need to personally challenge, but I need to go see what they talk about on other platforms, go vet them. If I gotta go look through their page, I just have a little conversation with them off to the side. Or, just listen to how they speak on what they speak about. Because I don't just bring anybody on here. Like, I just know because I understand. I've been in that situation where you're afraid trying to trust everybody. So I know y'all put y'all trust on me just by listening to this platform. So I'm gonna go get who I can that's knowledgeable about this, and that's why I went and got Justin. And I'm grateful for him coming on to this platform because he didn't have to do that. So
It's no problem. I had to though, man. I had to, man. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, to be already honest with you, Clubhouse has opened my eyes to see like how these conversations go. You know, like when there's no Bitcoin person in the room. You know what I mean? Or or because I don't do the stocks. I don't do options, right? But I'm in those rooms. You know what I mean? Just to to network and meet people. But I've heard a lot of people just run to ridiculous altcoins. You know what I mean? Like we talk about. I don't even want to say the name because I don't want y'all to think I'm endorsing them. You feel me? But it's like I've heard about people just running to some crazy places, and just recently a woman was like, "Well, I joined this some type of Bitcoin or crypto investment group, and she had to try to get all her money back." It online it says she made like a couple of extra $1,000, maybe 8 grand, 9 grand, but she had to pay $1,500 to get it back. I said, golly.
Hey, I'm in a group and I just seen on Facebook and I just seen something similar to that. I think she had to pay. They was giving her the runaround right now. I'm like, she paid to get some investment group and she made like 9 grand or something, but they want like 850, and I'm like, ain't nobody should be charging you like that to just invest in Bitcoin. I'm like, you can do that for free, and I get it. I laugh about it because I ain't been there, but similar things like we've all got some kind of way. I mean, that's just how you learn. I mean,
I got got coming in the game. I got a lot of times like because there was this one platform called Coins, and it was like they were calling themselves a British investment company. And so I'm looking them up. I'm thinking they good, and I'm telling you, like this is what I always tell folks, like, yo, if you just got here, you a newbie. It does not matter about your financial experience. Like the guy, the head of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, he's a newbie. He's just lucky enough to have folks in his ear that he can listen to about Bitcoin. It don't matter. You're a newbie. So I'm reading this and I said, well, this looks legit. I'm doing some type of research on it. I ignore all the red flags. That's another thing. Y'all gonna ignore the red flags when it's there because you think, nah, this is some disgruntled customer who didn't have a good experience. No, you about to be the next one. So, I put my money in there and they say, you wait 60 days, you'll start being able to make compound interest on your Bitcoin. We're gonna start sending you small amounts of Bitcoin. I'm thinking, yeah, this is dope. Okay, I can do this. It was just like cloud mining, right? Cloud mining was a similar situation. You put Bitcoin in, right? And then they would tell you, we're going to give you a little bit of fractions over time. I had to be slapped upside the head when I realized, number one, what you got to do is ask them how you're going to get your money back. If they come up with you some crazy stuff, you done. Or you got something like with cloud mining or any of these little compounded interests, like they use all the legacy investment terms to try to get you to understand what's going on, but it's a scam. So I would give these folks like let's just say Bitcoin is at $200. I gave them $100 worth of money through Bitcoin. That's 0.5 Bitcoin. Then I have to be okay with receiving small itty bitty pieces of Bitcoin, probably less than 20 cents. And now these folks are saying, well, this is compound interest. They play these lame games. But if you want more, just donate more. And so then it wasn't until someone said to me, like, yo, you just gave up a half of Bitcoin. Like, what do you mean they pay me back? Bruh, let's just say you kept that in your wallet. Bitcoin goes to what, $36,000 right now? That's $18,000 in your wallet. However, you chose to choose small compounded interest of Bitcoin where you get less than less than 25 cents or $1 or whatever. And you don't understand how you've been scammed? That's how it happens. It sounds great until you really look at it like, damn, I don't have my 18 grand. I just got $18 worth of little pieces of Bitcoin. Like, yeah, you've been scammed. Yeah. That's the thing. You just got scammed because a lot of people fall for it. And if everybody in the world sending me all this money, I can afford to give all y'all 25 cents a day, whatever it looks like. I already got the major bag anyway.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that, God, because that brings me back to that BitConnect, man. Like, you don't think about it. The goal is to get more Bitcoin. Everything when you start getting this crypto space, everything is measured in Bitcoin. or Satoshis, however you want to look at it. You over in Asia, they say Satoshi. Over here, everything's in Bitcoin. So you start getting across. That was the big thing. You start coming across this platform, you be like, "Oh, I'm about to get rich real quick." Maybe 6 months I had a bag, but then you start thinking after you you start thinking like, I just gave up all this Bitcoin. Like I know I done got scammed out of whole Bitcoin by now. Like,
Man, it's sad. Like it's even like ICOs, man. I told people ICOs are scams. They're like, oh, why you mean? Bro, don't trust me. I participated in about 2 of these things. You know what I'm saying? And I say 2 because I was about to do 4 or 5 until somebody said, yo, they getting you. You getting got again. And they got with me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this. I was given, again, if your company is like that, if your coin is like that, it should be able to run by itself. Look at Bitcoin. Look at the number one example. Bitcoin doesn't even have a company. It's not a company. You don't even know who's head in charge. You don't know if Satoshi is a man, woman, group of people. Hell, I think it's an alien, if you want to be real. But Bitcoin can run dolo. But y'all throwing these ICOs out here to people, hey, support this. We're going to have this going on next 3 years. It's kind of like an IPO. Yeah, we got you. Come on. Until you realize, like, damn, y'all want Bitcoin for y'all company to grow. Because that's the only way you can pay them. Bitcoin, Ether, or Litecoin was how you could pay those people. And then guess what? They done ran off with $1 billion worth of a bag. And they might make this company up, they might not, but at the end of the day, y'all gave them everything they needed through Bitcoin to hold on to that bullshit. And that's why those are the scams in this space, man.
And if y'all don't know, ICOs, that's basically the IPO of the crypto space. And he struck a nerve with me because I must have been in probably like 15, 20 ICOs. I would have thrown money at them for the same reason a lot of people get into this. They don't think about nothing but, oh man, this might be a bag to run up right here. And so that's a real thing. Like these, and the thing with crypto, there is no regulation to this space. So people literally can come in, get you for millions, and dip out like a ghost, like they was never there. And that's real common. And that was, I mean, the U.S. kind of trying to step in with crypto, but it's going to be tough for them. And I don't see it really happen. I mean, yeah, they could tax it all they want, but that's about as far as I think it's going to go. But I just say,
they can only tax crypto. They can't have this. Bitcoin and Bitcoin transactions won't get taxed. You take Bitcoin back to USD, you're gonna get it. And it's so hard, you know what I mean? Because how you gonna prove that I've been holding this for 10 years or I just got this yesterday?
Yep, that's why a lot of people on Coinbase need to watch out. I'll say that. So, but I mean, if you want to use Coinbase, I mean, just to get started, that's fine. I mean, that's what I tell people. You want to get started, use Coinbase. I mean, I've done the Coinbase, I've done Cash App. I mean, those are the main ones I've used. I mean, I used to do exchanges. I used to take all that to exchanges. I had to, like, you want to store it, you can store it online. I mean, they got the Mu wallets. I mean, if you want to go that route, I can't remember the other one. I think it was like MetaFox. I can't remember it. Those are the ones I used to use online. I mean, I have friends that have used, like, I only have a few friends that got the crypto that have the cold wallets and the stuff that you can take offline altogether. But I mean, teachers. So I mean, at this point, I think me and Justin broke it down to y'all. Y'all can kind of form your own opinion. At the end of the day, like, we ain't financial advisors. No, I'm not gonna lead you astray. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you.
Keep it a buck with you.
Yep, that's it.
With you. Most of these financial advisors aren't Bitcoiners neither. So you gotta pick what you're gonna do, man.
And also, you need to understand, this is the Wild Wild West right now. Like, this ain't been around. So I think Bitcoin been around since like 08, 09. So, I mean, it's still a super new space. People don't have no grasp really of what's going on. Everybody kind of just learning together and kind of taking how it come at us. I mean, so I just say be mindful of the hype that a lot of people have of a lot of this stuff, though. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Cause that's really what y'all need to be mindful of, the hype. And to me, I'm always say Bitcoin is king. Like, at the end of the day, if you in the crypto space, the ultimate goal, which most people, they'll throw the terms like the hodls and all of that. Yeah, the goal is to get as much Bitcoin as possible. That's not altcoins, but Bitcoin. And I mean, if you later on, I'm sure this space will transform into something way different than what we know right now. But that's to me, 10, 20 years. Like, this is Bitcoin way ahead of its time. Like, it's just starting to really take off and be adopted. And as y'all can see, if y'all, like I say, we talked about following the money. All I'm gonna say is it's a reason this stuff is skyrocketing like this, and it's actually stable right now. Like, if you do technical analysis, like I do technical analysis, and I broke it down like to a point on my Instagram and stuff. Like, this stuff got support now, and it got the support of the real big money. Like, we ain't no, like, if y'all want to compare the stocks, we're not market movers. And what stabilizes the market and moves the market is the big money. So you follow that money, and you'll go see a lot of these big banks that's been, talking down in the public eye in the past, they swooping it up. And especially with interest rates and the way money is looking and the dollar is looking, everybody trying to find somewhere to put their cash at that's going to do something besides this.
I've talked to folks who said, man, like, hey, man, do you think I should, how can I say this? Someone said I'm contemplating putting my 401k in Bitcoin. And I was like this. I said, listen, if Justin Rhedrick had a 401k, it'll be in there. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, and I don't think people actually did it, but hey, I'll tell you straight up, I'll tell you right now, I could win the lottery tomorrow, $700 million. I'm still buying Bitcoin with it.
Yep.
However I can do. You know what I mean? Like, do I think I get all $700 million in there? Probably not. But damn it, we gonna try. You feel me? Like, we gonna try. So, like, that's the thing, man, because it's not just about it. And that's the thing a lot of people understand. It's just not about the money. Yeah, you can make money doing some goofy stuff here. Yeah, like, you can. But if you're a person that's like, a grown adult, you got things going on, like a lot of them pump and dump groups be folks whose whole entire life is next bag, next bag, next bag, next bag, dumping it. And they could be like 20 years old just running around the internet. You know what I mean? Like, it's more about now in the day, and this is one thing I like to say, bro. The reason why it's so easy for people to fall for these things again, because they fell for the US dollar. And there's really no incentive in holding the dollar. And we talking about people who even in stocks or investors or whatever. They don't even feel incentivized to hold on to their holdings. That's why they look like they partying it up like they some rappers or something, right? There's no incentive to hold it. And so with Bitcoin, there's an incentive here. Like for instance, when my homeboy Zay was on Squawk Alley CNBC, the man said, listen, I like to advise my friends the dollar cost average into the S&P 500. It's like, yo, the return rate on that is so minimal, especially for black people, that it's like they don't really see the use case in it. Like, he said, blacks are underbanked, we're underinvested, undervalued, all that. Well, let's look at it. If somebody's been living in the slums particularly their whole life, it's hard for them to see why they should be actually saving this money. Granted, I still preach saving as you can, but when you start getting into it, it's like the dollar does not do anything. Bitcoin does something. Bitcoin in itself could just make you like, you know what? I might not need to be spending all of this like this. I might just need to be. Let me figure some things out. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like I said, like I tell people in the course, a lot of them are looking to spend it. Me personally, my course is looking to help you have 20 to 40x, so you can have the knowledge to have that, to open up that level of freedom that people don't really have. But you can't do that really with the US dollar without having to put a lot of work and labor into it, and you still might not get nowhere near that. So when we start talking about pure money, when we start talking about pure financial freedom, Bitcoin is all that as well. I should have said at the beginning, but that's what it is, bro. It's the freest form of money that we've ever seen. So, for it to be just 12 years old, by human standards, it still hasn't even reached puberty yet. But here it is. Damn, they're touching 6 figures. I believe it could go that high. I don't like doing price predictions, but by this year, it would not be surprising by this year you see a 6-figure Bitcoin price.
Yeah, I gave it a price back in 2017, 2018. I said 50K, and I got laughed out the building, and then I get a nice laugh at everybody else now because it's running like that. But we're gonna pivot to the last segment because I normally go to the question for the culture, but we didn't answer every question I had got. So mainly, so we're gonna go and run through this lightning round real quick. I'm gonna throw out 5 questions, man, and you just give me your answers and we can wrap it up. So first question is just a black standout on your timeline. That could be any black person in the community out there doing something that you think is of value to the people. That could be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
Oh, who's saying I was a black person on my timeline?
Yeah, like a standout, a black
Bitcoin
standout.
Zay. Bitcoin Zay all day. Bitcoin Zay. Follow him, buy his book, Bitcoin Black American 1 and 2. Shit. If you want to be 100 with you, when it comes to black people in Bitcoin, he the GOAT right now. And I'm just gonna be all the way a buck. He the GOAT right now.
All right,
So
second question. Second question, just a book recommendation. It could be about anything.
Oh boy. So outside of Bitcoin and Black America, I wanted to tell people, matter of fact, 2 books, bro, because that's something I ain't really get into. Like, I didn't really have any stronghold of personal finance, and I had to start reading on that. You know what I'm saying? I knew that would strengthen my power in Bitcoin because I was just like, yo, everything I had to do, I had to read. Like, I didn't tell y'all, like, I'm also like a memory specialist. And I used to read about 10 books a month. So I used to just run through books on money. And so a book that I would really like to recommend to people is Happy Money by this man. He's from Japan named Ken Honda. And why his book stood out to me because his approach to money was to release people fear and tension around money, because he's like one of the people who's into like, meta universe type of stuff, to where like when you show money appreciation, it will continuously come to you. Like in his book, he said every time you make a money transaction, say thank you and show gratitude, because that will let the world know and the universe know, or God, whatever you believe in, that you want more money. And when people are strong and tight with money, it won't come to them. So that outside of Bitcoin and Black America, outside of 1 and 2 of that, I would say Happy Money by Ken Honda.
Okay. So the next question is, what failure taught you the most?
Prison. Shit, what you mean? Prison. Ain't nothing else. Ain't nothing else. I mean, prison taught me, number one, don't be looking for fast money. The reason I even went to prison, run through this real quick, in '06, me and my mother, we lost our home to the housing market early in the housing market crash. I wasn't even able to play ball that year. My senior year, witnessed one of my friends get killed. I still went to A&T University, dropped out 2 years later due to finances, didn't really have the money. Came home, you making money, you making decisions out of desperation, led me to go to prison for 3 years. And so when it was in prison, I realized, number one, most people around you are only going to talk about the ways they lost money. I need to get around people who know how to make money. I need to be disciplined and know, like, hey, it doesn't happen all at once. It might not happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You know what I mean? Had to become, dedicated to the process of what it took. And another thing that prison allowed me to do was search the greatness in myself. Because when I came home from prison, I knew I wanted to. I said, if I ever go back to college, bro, I wanted to go to school for something lit, like being an astronaut or something, because I just had that much confidence in myself. So when I found Bitcoin, it was the thing. It was like, yo, I can do this here. And plus, nobody in the middle. So it was just the perfect combination. So my greatest learning experience from failure was prison.
Okay. Just 2 more questions. What is one thing you think the Black community needs to improve on?
Learning what's real and what's not, man. And that comes from a lot from just how we've been positioned here. Shit, it's hard for Black people to trust anything, no lie. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
and I think what it has to be is like we gotta start learning how to trust ourselves. Because if you can't, that's really where it starts. Like, and learning that there's a process on how to trust yourself. Like even in this book I'm writing, like it talks about that. Just there's some things you got to overcome. There's some beliefs about yourself you got to overcome. Like a lot of times, we don't believe we can make that money, so we don't make it. We don't believe we can do that certain thing, so we don't do it. we chase everything that don't matter. You know, we chase everything that don't matter. Like somebody would tell you, bro, I can't wait a year and a half of Bitcoin, but you can struggle for the next 20 years trying to chase a bag that you don't know how to go get. You know what I mean? Like we don't believe in the we talk the process, but it's only in the trap and in athletics. We don't believe it's real for money or business. You know what I'm saying? So we chase bags that we think we should have, but we don't know how to keep the bag, nor do we really know how to go get it. So trusting ourselves and, bro, God, please, you asked one thing. Just trusting, learning how to trust, man, and like really finding that knowledge. Like, cause I'll be honest with you, like a lot of this stuff I had to learn. I learned it from watching white people, reading them. What do they do? Why does it seem like they're at the top of what they do? You know what I mean? What rules they going by that I'm not going by? Cause I already know, like, my people the best. Look what we do. We make everything better. But why are y'all sitting at the top though? So what game is being played at the top that needs to be brought to us?
Yeah.
And just start playing that. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing. Like I said, what I did with Bitcoin. Another great book might be Profit First. When I read that book and learned how to break down money and budget money based off percentages and all this other stuff, I mean, like, it started making more sense as to how some people get ahead. Like, I used to just think it was all about checking and savings, but it's more than that. Money is more than that. So there's a lot of things, man. Like, damn, I know I answered more. I gave you more than one, but I'm gonna stop right there.
No, that's all good. I got one last question. Shit, you can elaborate right here. What's just one piece of advice you give somebody?
Learn how to communicate. Learn the value of communication. One thing else I did, I always, because I hate to get into arguments, but I always saw, like, everybody gets into arguments and everybody thinks they're correct. And at the end of the day, they are. So you got to understand, like, how to communicate with people. How to use your words, what tone and the voice to use, actually put yourself in this person's shoes, build rapport with them so you can really have a conversation that makes sense. And this ain't just in businesses and relationships and everything. We don't know how to communicate. We think, all right, well, I said it, that's it, it's over with. Yo, you're dealing with another grown adult, not a child. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand that the people, you have to respect what people are saying. Like, they got feelings, fears, motives, all that too. And if you just go in there with what you want and wonder why ain't nobody listening to you, it's because you're not listening to people. You know what I'm saying? So I think the biggest thing I can say is learn how to communicate. Hell, I read books on communication too. Like this one called DISC, or Authority, Ego, and Failure, or Never Split the Difference. Just really learn how to read, bro. Like, reading. Like I said, I read 10 books a day. I ain't had the money to hire all these people. I had to read my way into the game till I could make the money, so I could then try to start hiring people. I had to read my way into the game. So reading might be the tip too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you got to be open and start reading on things you're not good at. You know what I mean? Do things you aren't good at. When you do start doing things you aren't good at, then you start putting pieces of that puzzle. But if you don't never do what you're not good at, you're just gonna have a big gap in your puzzle, and you're gonna wonder, like, damn, how come I'm not going nowhere? Because you're not willing to work on the things you're not good at.
I'm glad you said that, though, because that is important, especially with the reading tip, because it's a saying out there, especially with the Black community. You want to hide something from us, just put it in a book. And that's why I always tell people, I try to read at least a couple books a month, and I mean, I got to do, I could even go a little bit further. It just depends on how busy I am. But when you start picking up books, that's where all the information is. And it's right there in plain sight. And then when you start reading it and realizing, like, these books be old as hell, and you like, dang, it's been here the whole time.
And that's another thing about that. Like, I stopped reading certain books, bro. Like I would read books, but I started off, I started probably like, we're not there when the information comes out. Why? Like, we need updated information. So, like, there's a book I read last year. It came out January 28th called The Future is Faster Than You Think. I read so many books, bro. I know you asked for one, but damn, like, that's another book. You know what I mean? Just really reading where the world is going, not where you think it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? We not going backwards. And I know your grandparents might say, well, we need to stick to doing things how we did back in the day. Now you got those conscious people out there saying we need to get back to our African roots. Yeah, that's all good, but bro, the world is not going backwards. You got to be where the times are going. If you're not, your family stands to suffer. And people don't really know that, bro. They don't know that. They live in their own bubble. They don't really look at what the hell is coming. They live in their own bubble, then don't understand why the hell they getting smacked upside the head so much by life. You gotta be where stuff is going. And if you don't like it, hell, go hard enough, get in front of everybody and change the narrative. But you gotta notice where the world is going. And you gotta give yourself and your family a position to be there. If not, hell, they're gonna look at you as a failure. Straight up.
It's true, but hey, man, I just want. Hey, you dropped a lot of free game, man, and I just want you to. First, I want to thank you, bro, for coming on. Appreciate you for coming here and talk about Bitcoin and giving everybody a little bit of insight on it. Last thing I need you to do though, before I close everything out, can you just plug? I know you got courses. How people can get a hold of you, where they can find you at, and all that.
So again, I know I started off. Send a message to me on Instagram, Bitcoin Vegan, or Twitter, Bitcoin_Vegan. The message is wealth to Bitcoin, or whatever. You can say I heard you on the podcast. I don't care. I'm gonna send you a free chapter of my Bitcoin chapter of my book, and also an invite to a Q&A I have about my course. The course is about just cutting out all the distractions and getting you straight into Bitcoin, step-by-step approach. Something I know YouTube and Clubhouse and Twitter and them, they don't give you. They just give you a lot of definitions and current events. This course here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go get into the space. Holler at me on Instagram, Bitcoin Vegan, Twitter, Bitcoin_Vegan, or you can simply email me, Justin@BitcoinVegan.com.
Okay. Appreciate you, man. And, like I always say, y'all got any value from this, just like, comment, subscribe. Y'all go plug in with man Justin, though, because, hey, a lot of people, especially now with the way Bitcoin going, y'all got a lot of questions and stuff. And, I'll tell you what I can, but I don't have courses and stuff made out people. So this man got a course for y'all, lay it out, step-by-step booklet, man. Go ahead and get that. So once again, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Appreciate you, Justin, for coming onto the platform, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.